Just want to ask Senator Gallivan, who has, God knows, a wealth of experience in the legislature and law enforcement, to offer his thoughts.
Thank you, Senator, and thanks all of you for being here. People that spoke today and our other law enforcement officials that are here, including the president of the State Sheriff's Association, Oneida County Sheriff, Rob Michaud. I'm troubled that there's a number of proposals going forward that are being put forward without really any thought, simply to score political victories. Of course, our system is not perfect. There's no question about it. And I think what you've heard is that there's nobody up here that objects to improving our system. But it must be done with thought. It must be a deliberative process. And we must consider all facets of the community, not just the perpetrator. We have to consider victims and families in our community and the officials that are charged with carrying out the job and protecting us, the law enforcement officials on the front line, the prosecutors, the probation officers, and that is not taking place right now at all. New York right now has the most progressive bail laws in the country. There's many options available to different judges. There's 9 options. One of them is cash bail. The other 8 do not involve cash. You heard from District Attorney Carney about an alternative proposal to help ensure public safety. Of course, incarceration is not for somebody who isn't convicted, but if they are repeat offenders, if the community is at danger and we've got them in our custody, it's shame on us to put them back out there to prey on somebody else. Discovery reform is another concern about witness intimidation, and it's a very real thing. The homicide clearance rates in our cities across the state is not good. In many cases, it's under 50%. And more often than not, there are witnesses that are afraid to come forward because they would be victimized later on. And that's a proposal that jeopardizes their safety and community safety. The final proposal I want to talk about that was only alluded to today, and it has to do with the parole process and the standards for release. There is currently, when somebody is considered for parole, the parole board has to consider the individual inmate and their particular record out on the streets and the good that they may have done in prison and how they've rehabilitated. They also have to consider the welfare of the community. And as part of the process, as we heard from the stewards, victims have a right under the law to be heard. It's called the victim impact process, and the parole board must consider that. And that actually is part of the standards that have to be considered. The proposal right now will focus on the inmate. The proposal essentially eliminates the community standard, concern for the community, and simply says, if the inmate does good and is not a danger to the community, he must be released in simple terms. And that completely disregards the plight of victims. It completely disregards the impact on victims. And I think it's a slap in the victim's face and a slap in the face of all law-abiding citizens. So I concur with my colleagues. I concur with those that spoke today. If we want to call it reform, so be it. But if we're going to reform it in a positive way, not take a step backwards. A deliberative process to make it better for everybody, to make it fair for everybody, including perpetrators, to ensure that their rights are protected. But so often it seems that we're forgetting the rights of victims and the rights of our law-abiding citizens. And we stand together today to do our best to make sure that doesn't happen. Thank you.